honestly, where am I right now? Hello from Skopje, Macedonia. This is the capital city of Macedonia, and I'm only here for one night, so I wasn't really planning on making a video. I was just gonna like come see it and then move on. Honestly, this is the weirdest city that I've ever been to. Not in a bad way, not in a good way either, just like the weirdest place. It's like a film set, or it's like Disneyland or some weird version of Las Vegas. So let me start from the beginning. This is like a really old city. It's thousands and thousands of years old. It's part of Macedonia, which is mentioned in the Bible. It's old shit. So they had a couple of earthquakes and a lot of the buildings got destroyed, and then they rebuilt them. But then in 2004, the government was like, you know what, I think we need to make this city really beautiful and like really appealing to tourists. We want to show off what we've got. We want to look like we're rich. We want to look like, you know, we're top shit. So they created this project called Skopje 2014. So the plan was by 2014 they were just going to rebuild all of the old buildings and make them look really fancy. And I feel like they over-delivered. The buildings here are full-on palatial, all these grand architect styles. I'm not an architect, so I really don't know how to properly describe it, but I'm talking like giant Roman columns. I'm talking huge buildings that, like, honestly I feel like I'm in Vienna walking along some of these streets, or like Paris. There are all these like grand old buildings with, you know, there's like delicate Paris balconies. It is so bizarre because this is only like, yes, it's the capital city, but there's only 500,000 people living here, but the buildings are built up like there's like 8 million people living here. And I think it's all just to sort of show off, to create this illusion of grandeur, but all it does is it just makes it feel really bizarre because they're really new buildings meant to look old. So you're walking down the streets and honestly it does feel like a film set because there's no one in these buildings. It's just like completely empty, like really nice paved stone piazzas and like these fancy facades, but like 10 people just like milling around. And there are all these fountains, like huge fountains. I'm talking like 100 meters tall, actually probably not that tall, but very tall fountains. All this money has been spent on it. This fountain, I don't understand the point of. It just sort of like shoots water every 20 seconds, just like a little bit of water, and then that's it. And also, so that's one fountain. Then there's another one just there, and then there's another one just there, and then there's one also across the river over there. Oh no, wait, there's another one there as well. I'm standing right here and I can see 5 different fountains. I don't know, I guess I meant to look at it and think, oh wow, what a beautiful grand city, they must have so much money. It just looks kind of dumb. The second weird thing about this city is they are obsessed with statues. There are so many statues here, and when I say that you're probably thinking like a lot of statues, but it's insane the amount of statues that are here. I don't think anyone can count them because there are so many. There's 3 bridges that are just completely covered in statues, and they're literally addicted to them because they started building all these statues out of metal. I think they were making them out of copper, and then they ran out of copper. So, you know, a sane city would be like, maybe we should just stop building statues. No, they started building them out of clay. So then they have all these clay statues, and then they run out of people to make statues of. Like they made one of Mother Teresa, they made one of Alexander the Great, all these important people in Macedonian history run out of people to make statues of. So they just started making them of random people. So they have so many statues everywhere, and half of them are like pointless and there's no one that it's actually about. Then they started running out of space to put all these statues. They filled the city with statues and they were like, hang on, we don't have any more space for any more. So then they started putting them on buildings. So there's all these buildings that just have like a row of statues around them. I wish I could properly explain to you just how many statues there are here. It is bonkers. You're just walking down the street and then suddenly there's this random what is this? It's like an archway filled with statues just in the middle of absolutely nowhere, made to look old, but it's actually really new. Why not? And all of the street lamps are meant to look like ye old gas lamps, and they're painted in gold. It's like, no, that was put there like 5 years ago. It's not a legitimate old-timey thing. It's like they're trying to create this weird sense of history, but they're kind of modeling it off like Western European history, but it doesn't really fit in this city, especially after traveling around the Balkans for a couple of months. I'm like, where am I? It's so bizarre. Also, the mayor a couple of years ago went on like a bunch of trips around Europe and saw all of the monuments around in different European cities, and he was like, oh, you know what, I like some of these. So he just recreated them here. So there's Arc de Triomphe. They started building a big what's it called, Ferris wheel, like the London Eye. There's a golden bull, which is meant to be in front of the stock market, but he just whacked it in front of a shoe shop. They're in the middle of building Spanish Steps. Why? I don't understand. It's so weird. Like, it's a cool city, don't get me wrong. It's just so fake. And then there's a section which is really like old school. It's like the Muslim area, so there's like a bazaar, there's all these mosques, there's really good food, there's so much like energy and culture and vibe. And then you cross over into the new district of town and it's just all these random fancy buildings, all these statues. It's like, yeah, doing a set visit at Universal Studios or whatever, and you go down the street the Desperate Housewives was filmed on, and it's eerie and quiet, and you can just tell like it feels fake. That's exactly what it feels like here. I don't know, it's a bizarre city, but I reckon I kind of like it. Maybe because it's so interesting. It's like, what's going on here? I wouldn't really say to come out of your way to go here, but if you're, you know, in the area, if you're in the north of Greece, or if you're in even like Croatia, Albania, maybe stop by, because it's kind of weird and fun and yeah, strange.